Welcome to VHS Sisters, a nostalgic movie podcast with two actual real-life sisters.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Saysha.
Get into some comfy clothes, grab your favorite beverage,
and come hang out with us as I force my little sister to watch all the movies she missed growing up. Listeners, we have a new theme this month because we are done with Spring Fantasy April. Mm-hmm. We are now in May, and May is all about maybe the best decade, the 1980s.
Yeah. The decade where I did not exist.
Melanie wasn't here yet. I sure was. But yeah, welcome to 80s month, everybody. And I figure we would start 80s month with a movie that for me is quintessential 80s. And I just recently found out that Melanie has never seen this movie, which is full on bonkers to me.
Now, listen, I know of this movie. I know things that happen in this movie. I'm aware of its place in culture.
And how could you not? Exactly.
It's like it would be so, especially somebody who like me, I've watched Rick and Morty, which is like a direct rip of the plot of Back to the Future, like at least the characters in it.
Sure.
And so to me, this movie's just like been a part of just normal everyday life, kind of like whenever the 80s are referred.
It's a part of the zeitgeist, as we say.
There we go. Thank you. It's a part of the zeitgeist. And I have just never sat and watched the whole thing.
I found this, listeners. Hi, welcome to VHS Sisters. I recently found this out. I was talking about like different 80s movies. I'm like, what are the highlights of the 80s? Because there are so many good movies in the 80s. And I forget why it came up. And I was like, well, you've seen Back to the Future, right? And when you said no, I lost my fucking mind. Because I will say, I'm going to preface this whole pod with, this is one movie that I think both cinephiles and just like general population people all agree they would call this the, in quotes, perfect movie. And I would also agree with that. But what I'm getting, even before we start talking about it, that you were not too thrilled with this selection.
No, you'd be surprised to find out that I did really enjoy this movie. I think, and if anything, it could have been longer. I wanted more Doc Brown lore. Like I wanted to like see him in his lab. And like, I don't know, I'm sure there's like a director's cut of this movie that I did not watch. And I think that's what I'm kind of looking for.
Well, you'll be happy to know, you may already know this, but there are 2 sequels.
Yeah, there are. And I've never seen either of those. Like
listeners, chime in if you want us to watch every single Back to the Future movie. Because
that's just the month. The month is just Back to the Future month.
I don't need an excuse to watch these movies. It was so funny because I rewatched it on streaming and like it suggested the sequels immediately afterward. And I was just like, I will sit and watch every fucking one. I don't care. Like they are, you said you wanted it to be longer.
I wanted it to be longer. Yeah.
I get that. I do feel that, speaking as a writer, it is a perfect screenplay. It leaves you wanting more. There is zero wasted dialogue in it. They get to these plot points really quickly. There are some like weird points in it, which I would love to
bust down
with you. That's it. We'll bust it down. But yeah, I mean, you basically already said it. I always ask you what your memories are, and you're just saying like you're aware of Marty, Doc Brown. You know, you under
the DeLorean,
right? You've heard the quotes, and probably from watching things like Stranger Things. And
yeah. Just like any, and you know what I really liked to watch as a kid, surprisingly, was
what's that?
I think they had it on VH1 back when VH1 was still a channel.
Yes.
But it was like, I love the 80s. So like I would watch all of these like recaps of the 80s, of the 90s, and just like absorb my little tidbits of information that people know that I always have just random facts about a lot of stuff. Not a lot of deep facts about one thing. Very, my branches spread wide.
I remember that show. I like that show. See, yeah, I know a lot of little things about a lot of different things. And I'm like, let me know like 5 things and go like
through and through
and deep. It's funny because like, usually like I take a ton of notes and I come up with a lot of like fun facts. The thing about this movie, I feel like people who are going to be listening to this, other than our hardcore fans, of course, ooh, they've seen this movie. They know this movie. So much has already been said about it. And it's been like parsed through by minds greater than mine.
Sure.
And I feel like I just mostly want to like talk about what was interesting to you. I will sprinkle in a little bit of lore. The making of this movie was pretty crazy, but I mostly want to focus like on the structure of it and the characters and just like the Hollywood of it all. I do think this is like, I was saying to Ryan when we were rewatching it, I was like, this is a story that can only be told through the medium of film. It's like such a movie, right? Yeah. Like it can't be, this isn't a book. This isn't a song necessarily. You know, it's like when you have an idea, you're like, how will this show itself in media? You always have to ask yourself that. I'm like, this is a motherfucking movie. Like blockbuster. It's summertime. It came out. When did it come out? It came out in 1985, but I'm looking at what month. Okay. It was released July 3rd.
Wow.
1985. Fucking 4th of July weekend, 1985. Imagine what it must have felt like.
Straight up in the middle of the 80s, period.
Just like you're walking into that theater in your members only jacket. You're getting your popcorn with your neon yellow butter on it.
You're getting your Tab soda.
You're getting your Tab. A lot of product placement in this.
So much product placement. I didn't realize that until I started watching this time. And I was like, wow, they actually like mentioned so much stuff. And that joke where he, you know, presents like to the guy in the diner, getting ahead of ourselves here, but
it's okay.
When he goes to say that joke about the Tab soda, oh, give me a tab. And he's like, well, you didn't order anything. How can I give you a tab? That flew over my head the first time. And I had watched the movie again today before the pod. And I was like, oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
I've never tasted a Tab. I'm sure I would love it because I love a Coke Zero or a Diet Coke. So.
I think I've tasted a Tab. We were a Diet Coke family always, though.
Well, I feel like the Rents did like a Pepsi moment. They were kind of doing Pepsi for a while and then they switched.
Yeah, I remember specifically caffeine-free Diet Coke and like the gold can.
Oh yeah, it's like a grandpa's house staple.
I'm like, what the fuck is even the point of this? Like,
it's nothing.
You're drinking literally nothing. Yeah, this is a movie that, I mean, there's not much to say about my memories. This movie is my childhood. It's one of like the first, I don't know. So this is a PG movie. I feel like they're really testing the boundaries of that with this.
Well, they didn't have PG-13 yet.
Right. And I was like, it is a little, I think at the time when I first watched this and you were saying like that joke went over your head, so much went over my head. I didn't even really like get like the whole incest angle.
Oh shit. Yeah.
When I watched it, I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. Okay. Like watching Marty like smooch his mom. And I was just like, that's weird, but like didn't really like understand the implications of it. You know, it was more like, oh, I know he doesn't want to do this and he's uncomfortable with it. But yeah, a lot of references went over my head. I remember this is like one of the movies that I remember Mom laughing at like so much.
It's funny because she asked, what movie are you guys doing this week? I go Back to the Future. She goes, I love that movie.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, she does. And then they would like quote it all the time. And I just remember like being a kid and being like, I don't get that, but I'm going to laugh anyway because everyone else is laughing. So.
Right. It's like SpongeBob. Like when I was a kid and I watched SpongeBob.
Yeah.
It was just funny because it was a cartoon. But then like for some reason, my uncle really loved it. My uncle who has no children really loved SpongeBob. And I was like, why is that? And then I was like, as I grew up, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of a show for adults too.
Yeah, like a lot of stoner humor, I feel.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah, so Back to the Future from 1985 was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who had previously directed Romancing the Stone, which I believe you've seen.
I have. I watched it for the first. Too bad I didn't save it because that was a good one. But I watched that for the first time, I think last summer with Mom.
I love it. That's one of my favorite rom-coms.
It is really good.
It's really good. Go ahead.
Being someone who is a avid reader now, and the fact that she's a romance novelist, I think is so funny. It's so good.
I say that to Ryan all the time because we're talking about like dream careers, because I've had a lot of phases in careers and seasons of my life. And he was like, yeah, what's the dream job? You know, like, what's the ultimate plan? I was like, to be Joan Wilder. That's like the ultimate. That's the ultimate for me, like since I was like 10 years old.
And go to Colombia.
You got to go to Cartagena and find your sister. So, but anyway, yeah, Robert Zemeckis directed that, another fine film. He went on after this, after he directed all the Back to the Futures, he directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like
a lot of hits.
He understands Hollywood. So Robert Zemeckis wrote this screenplay with Bob Gale, and Bob Gale, it was like his idea because he had seen a high school yearbook picture of his father back like in the 50s. And he was like, he realized that his father was like class president. And he's like, wow, I never knew that. And then in his mind, he was like, if I had gone to high school with my dad, would we have been friends? And that's where the idea came. And it was just like, okay, how do we get a kid back in time to meet his parents? And that was it. And I was like, that's just like, that's what I said, like being creative. I was like, I feel like this is one of those movies that's just like, let's just try it.
True. I didn't know that it was like not a book or not a, you know, something before. It just was a screenplay.
It was a screenplay. And fun fact, they rewrote this screenplay like 77 times.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So it's like pretty notorious for going through like multiple drafts. And like, that's not uncommon. Like a book, you know, even like shorter works of theater or film, you're going to take it through the draft process. But this was like pretty, because they originally wanted it to be like, I forget what the name was. It was like, they were going to call the movie like Space Boy from Pluto or something.
The fuck is that?
I don't know. Something crazy. Now, this is, yeah, I'm not making this up. Doc Brown was going to be Professor Brown. He was like going to be a professor at a university. Instead of Einstein the dog, Doc Brown was going to have a monkey companion.
Oh my God.
Which, again, it was the 80s. People did so much cocaine. They were just like, yes, let's make this happen. I'm really glad they did not get a chimp because, you know, I do not care for them.
They're not for me. I like a little spider monkey, but like a chimp, I'm okay. But it's like, it would make sense as a lab partner to have something with opposable thumbs.
Sure.
You know, but at the same time, like we don't need the chimp.
I don't want a chimp anywhere near me. And people who have monkeys in their house are crazy.
Well, yeah.
I would rather have a big cat than a monkey is all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like, because that chimp will rip off your face.
And so will the cat. The big cat will do that as well. But it's just like.
But I'd be like, oh, so cute while he's doing it.
Oh,
baby. So anyway, yeah, they conceived this idea like back in 1980. This project was rejected like 40 times by studios. Yeah, It was because it was not considered. I saw this like on a behind the scenes YouTube video too. So like at the time, like raunchy teen sex comedies were in vogue. Things like Porky's and stuff like that. It's like, we're a bunch of guys. We're trying to get
Isn't
laid.
that like Animal House or something?
Yeah. Well, Animal House was in the 70s, but it was like everything that kind of spun off from that. There were like hundreds of movies like this where it's just like Weird Science. Have you seen Weird Science?
She's got 3 boobs, right?
No, that's Total Recall.
Oh, my bad.
It's like
Weird Science. I feel like we've watched that before. We had to have.
We definitely had it on VHS. So like a similar thing, 2 horny teen guys. They're like, I just want to get laid, but they're like socially awkward and probably incels and whatever. It's a whole thing.
Marty McFly's got a girlfriend, okay?
Marty McFly, honestly, he's got a hot girlfriend. He's looking at other ladies like Marty McFly is down to clown. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
He's ready to go. This 5'4" king.
Yeah.
He's ready to rock. And the funny thing about Michael J. Fox, so they wanted him for Marty right from the get. They're like, that's our guy, because he just had that quality about him.
Mhm.
But he was doing a TV show at the time called Family Ties, which I don't know if you
remember. I've seen Family Ties, yeah.
Yeah, so they wouldn't let him out of his contract. So they shot a ton of stuff with the actor Eric Stoltz. I don't know if you know who that is.
No.
He was in the movie Mask with Cher. He played the kid with like the deformed face. Do you remember that? That's another 80s movie.
I have not watched it, but I saw like, I don't know, it's a trend of people to do like these YouTube clips and put a weird title on it and be like, she really fought for her family or something. And then it's just like a clip from the movie. That's where I've seen that movie.
Got it. Okay. It's so funny. I just realized. So in the last podcast, you couldn't remember who Gabriel Byrne was. And I dropped the ball and I did not remind you that Gabriel Byrne was in Little Women, which we had covered on the pod. Well, Eric Stoltz was also in Little Women. He played Meg's husband, John, Laurie's tutor, who she ends up marrying.
Oh.
Yeah. So again, more Little Women connections.
That's funny.
We got going on. Anyway.
I mean, it had all the stars.
It really did. Yeah. No, it's great. I can't wait for Christmas to be here. So I can watch it again. I can watch it again.
And again and again and again and again.
It's so good. But yeah, Eric Stoltz was cast because they couldn't get Michael J. Fox. And Eric Stoltz is like, he's a good actor, but he was like very serious and very like method. Like he had to like stay in character. And they shot like a ton of, you can find them on YouTube. There's a ton of Back to the Future clips with him in it.
Oh, and really?
Yeah. Like they were like weeks into shooting. He had got the job. And then they found out that they could get Michael J. Fox and they had to go to Eric Stoltz and be like, sorry, all those scenes that we shot, we're going to scrap them.
Here's some money, I guess. Gotta go.
No, I don't know how they worked that out. Like big bummer for him as an actor, but like you can't see anyone else in this role. It's his movie.
Right.
And they had auditioned like Johnny Depp. They'd auditioned John Cusack. It's just like, no. He's the guy. I want to say like right out the gate, Michael J. Fox is like, he's so good in this. He's so committed. His physical comedy is like insane. And I know that they probably had a lot of stunt people for the skateboarding stuff, but that really impressed me as a kid. All the skateboarding stuff. I was like, wow, this is so cool. I love it. I want to say like the beginning of this movie is one of the craziest openings. And I would like to hear your first impression of it as somebody who's watched it for the first time.
With all of the clocks?
The clocks, the whole Rube Goldberg machine of it all, just like in Pee-wee. Just like
they say, very Pee-wee.
Very Pee-wee. Like in the Goonies, there's one. Like the 80s love this idea of like a lot of little things making one thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like the movie starts, it's in a warehouse. There's clocks everywhere. This is like Doc Brown's place. I don't know. The beginning of this movie always seemed very bizarre to me. How did you feel about it? Did it like bring you in?
It took a minute to get there because here's all these clocks, right? Hear them all and their unique ticking sounds. And then like the toast is like literally just burning in the toaster.
Right.
The gross dog food can gets plopped onto this. That's so nasty.
It really that whole thing really upset me as a kid. I'm like, that's disgusting. And why would that happen? But
right. And like, where is Doc Brown's like robo vacuum to come clean, like with all of his inventions? He didn't quite get the Roomba.
I was going to say that they didn't have the technology yet. he could,
but they could go back in time. No, I'm just kidding.
he could access plutonium, but he couldn't figure out like a room robot.
And then like you have the newscaster who gives you like, again, so watching it a second time through was rewarding because you hear the newscaster talk about the story of the stolen plutonium that they're trying to like write off as like a clerical error, whereas the Libyan government is like, no, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's really tightly written, and it's like it is one of those movies like upon rewatch, and I've seen it. I can't even tell you how many times. It's like you're just like, oh wow, they were really, all those 77 drafts really paid off. Guys.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, like you said, not one wasted minute. So Marty comes in, and he's basically like, I think this is kind of where I wish the movie was longer too, not necessarily for the intro, but for like maybe a little, even if it was just like a scene and a half of friendship building between Doc and Marty. Like how did he come about, you know, to be his friend or like work with him? You know, how did he become his videographer is what I'm wondering.
They don't get into that at all.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it for just, again, screenwriting purposes. It's just like, yeah, we can just assume
this is normal. Yeah.
This is normal. You can just say a thing happens and it happens. And I love that. Because it's not a book, you know, it's not a 700-page novel where we need the whole backstory. It's just like, okay, we just accept that they're friends. It's weird. Yeah. It's kind of weird, this teenage guy hanging out with this old guy.
Sure.
And like where, yeah. And it seems like they have some sort of symbiotic relationship where probably Marty like does errands for him, probably like zipping around on a skateboard. And he's like sneaking into the warehouse in the beginning just so he can play the world's tiniest guitar on the
world's largest amp,
which is like, again, that like, it's not necessary. So, but I guess what do we find out about Marty in that first scene is like, he loves rock and roll. He's, you know, he's willing to take a risk, I guess.
Yeah. He's down to experiment.
He's down to clown. That's just what we're getting from Marty. And yeah, Marty is like, you know, otherwise like a fairly normal teenager.
Yeah.
He goes to high school. Like you said, he has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Jennifer Parker, who's, you know, total smoke show. I was like, and like watching it like as an adult, I'm like, wow, like teenage boys, like, I mean, I'm sure Michael J. Fox was like 20.
Yeah.
When he did this, I'm not sure exactly the age, but I was just like, you can see that like his girlfriend looks so much like more mature and beautiful.
Boys don't mature until they're 25. And I would argue even later.
Or if at all.
If at all.
But like, yeah, so he's a normal, you know, he's a normal kid. He's got a girlfriend. His biggest concern is getting
the hall monitor, or like that one teacher who's out for him, and placing in battle of the bands.
He wants to be in the band that gets picked for the school dance. But it's funny because the movie famously kicks off with the song Power of Love by Huey Lewis in the News, and Huey Lewis is the guy who's judging him in the Battle of the Bands contest. I don't know if you caught that. Oh
man, I did not. That's cool.
Yeah, he's the guy who stands up. He's like, "I'm sorry, son, you're just too loud."
Yeah,
you know. So I always thought that was like a funny little inside joke. But yeah, he's, you know, he's called a slacker by like teacher at school. I think the guy's name is like Mr. Strickland. Yeah. Oh, Principal Strickland.
There we go. Okay. It's the principal.
And, you know, he's just sort of like, you can tell he's got some insecurities. Like he wants to, Jennifer's like, go submit your tape to a record producer. And he's like, I don't know. Like he's very self-deprecating. And we come to realize it's like, it's probably because of his parents. Like, what were your impressions of like Marty's family life when you first meet them?
Oh, wow. It was so funny. Like, it was weird to see, watching in hindsight, this actress with all of this thick makeup on and these wrinkles and things like that, to see his dad be like a really goofy guy played by Crispin Glover, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Leah Thompson plays Lorraine, his mom. So like when we first meet them, they're older. She's like supposed to be 47.
Yeah.
And she's got a lot of age makeup on, and Crispin Glover is just like, you know, he's got some gray hair and he's like a total pushover nerd,
Yes, he
loser
remained
kind
in
of
his
guy.
his nerd style, even into adulthood.
Yeah. So, yeah, their whole family vibe. We have an older brother who like works in fast food, a sister who like can't get a boyfriend. It's just sort of like, I think the thing, I don't know if you like picked this up, but I think like as a kid, I was just like, oh, they're kind of like white trash.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like just, lower middle class white Americans.
And I remember like relating to like whenever I see like, you know, I remember us talking about that when we reviewed Muriel's Wedding, just like this depiction of lower income white people is very like, to me as a kid was very affirming. I also like understood watching this as a kid. I was like, oh, this is not good. Like it's being framed as like his life sucks.
Right.
Because they're poor. His dad is being pushed around by like this guy he works with, this guy named Biff.
Fucking Biff.
Fucking Biff. Did you like how'd you feel about Biff?
Biff is a total jerk.
Yes.
He's out here trying to bitch about this car, and it's like, oh, the car has a blind. So I'm assuming he's a used car salesman or something like that. And Biff is his supervisor or whatever.
Yeah, it's his boss.
The dad's boss is Biff. And he's like, yeah, how come you gave me this car with a blind spot? I'm like, all cars have a blind spot. It's just a part of the car. Like, it's just how they're designed.
I think,
and like your neck can't swivel that far, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the joke. And I think that Thomas F. Wilson, who plays Biff, and he's like in all the sequels too, like he
Oh wow, okay.
Is we gotta watch them all. We gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
He understands the assignment, as the children say. He really understands like how to play the bully. There's a tone to this movie that is like, it's comedy, but it's almost like a screwball comedy that you would see in like the 40s almost. It's very like old Hollywood to me. It's like everything's like it's so like fast, almost like in a Gilmore Girls kind of way.
Yeah.
Like everything's just snapping through. And I was like, yeah, he really gets it because he plays up being that bully so well. And you just fucking hate him. Like he does his job for sure.
And he goes in there, he's like, say hi to your mom for me. Like, ew.
Yeah. No, he like so many quotable. This movie is full of quotes.
And then you see the mom later, she's drinking her warm Popov vodka.
Oh, it's like, that's the thing. You're talking about like things you get as an adult. And I remember like, you know, just like accepting that as a kid, maybe because I saw a lot of adults drinking vodka like all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's next to water in the family here.
Right. I was just like, oh, as an adult, you're like, oh, I was raised by alcoholics, just like Lorraine McFly. Yeah, they really play up like how like depressed she is and alcoholic she is. And
I was going to say too, I wrote a note saying that I hate when people or parents, specifically parents, I guess, peak in high school, because that's like all she's talking about is like, oh yeah, your dad back in the day, we went to the dance and it changed my life. I'm like, ew, stop talking about this. Like,
yeah, no.
It. But yeah, it's like that's all she thinks about is like how good her life was back then, and then like can't enjoy herself in the present. And I'm like, I hate that.
I know. And I think that they do, again, like really like strong ideas presented here in this package of this like Hollywood action comedy, because like we need her to be that, right? We need them to all be fucking losers. So there's better payoff later.
And then her parenting her daughter. Girls shouldn't chase boys. Like girls would never do that. I never did that. I was never in a car with a boy.
Right. Yeah. I think like what we get from very efficient dialogue is that like the mom didn't get to like live her dream. So she's here. I mean, this is a pattern we see all the time. Like people who are frustrated in their own lives love to tear other people down. Especially women, like being like, oh, you know, like, and they do it under the guise of like helping, but it's like, no, you're just saying that because you're miserable.
Right.
And so, yeah.
They always say what you don't like about a person is reflected in yourself.
100%. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, Lorraine, like this first version of Lorraine that we see is like, she had that in her. Like she wanted to be wild with boys, but like in, you know, the first reality of this movie, she met her husband who got hit by her dad's car, and she just felt bad for him. So she was with a man because she felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
And that's why she ended up with him. And so there's a big like lesson in that, which I think is important, which, you know, we can continue to discuss. So all that being said, Marty's family life is pretty dysfunctional, but this bright spot for him is like having his friendship with Doc Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So when Doc asked him to meet him at the Twin Pines Mall at like 1:30 in the fucking morning,
Yeah.
he jumps for it. He was like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and then he's like sleeping, and then he has to wake up.
I was like, to be a teen and just like wake up in the middle of the night. So yeah, so describe like what is happening at the Twin Pines Mall, if you can.
So Doc Brown is unveiling his latest experiment, that of which is going to be the DeLorean, which allows him to travel time. And it's funny because one of the YouTubers I follow, she just did a review of that mall that was the Twin Pines, you said, right?
I think it's Twin Pines Mall in the
Twin
beginning.
Pines Mall. I want to say Twin Peaks. Different.
Yeah, different pine.
But yeah, so she just did a review of it, and it's actually a dead mall now. So there's like no activity in it except for like these two end cap stores. And I think they have a Heidi Lau, which I'm like, damn, that mall should be popping off if you've got like really good hot pot there. But there's like bowling and hot pot, and that's about it. But to me, that sounds like a good time. But
That's all I need.
Exactly. The rest of the mall is completely defunct. So she did a tour of it, and it's actually called the Puente Hills Mall in California.
Ooh.
And they still have the sign, the Twin Pines sign in the mall as like memorabilia.
You're gonna have to send me that video because I love a dead mall. I love film location videos.
Mm-hmm.
I follow some YouTubers who I follow, the Grim Life Collective. They go to horror movie locations a lot, and they're like, they shot it here, they shot it here. I love all that stuff.
I feel like you're gonna love this channel. Like you've recommended me some YouTube channels in our time that I'd still keep up with, and this is one I think you might love. Her name is Ghoul Host.
Ooh.
And she does a lot of different like spooky sort of themed adventures, whether it's going to like cons or she lives in California, so she does a lot of stuff in LA. Her boyfriend's in a band, so she has traveled a little bit. She went to Scotland, I think, last year and did a little tour of that, or maybe earlier this spring. Anyways, shout out to Ghoul Host. She's great.
Shout out. We'll tag you in this.
Yes.
So they're at the Twin Pines Mall, which is now a dead mall, but he's using it as it's his outdoor test site.
Yes. Well, because it's late at night, right? So there's no one there. The parking lots are empty. So he can try to achieve the speed of 88 miles an hour.
Ryan was like, where's the mall security? I'm like, bro, it was 1985. Like,
yeah, they're done. The night's over. The shift's done.
We did not have the surveillance state that we do now. Like people could just do whatever at any time.
Missing those times.
What did you feel about the DeLorean? Like, do you know what a DeLorean is?
Well, it's a car.
But like, do you know, like, you don't have to know the whole history of it, but it's like, I want to say it was like the Cybertruck of its day.
Yeah, I would say so.
It was very like, it was like a joke. So like the whole thing. And I think that like in one of the first drafts of the screenplay, they wanted it to be like the time machine was going to be like in the back of a storage truck or something. Like you just go through this portal. And they're like, no, we're going to like race back in time and make it a DeLorean. So it was like a very funny joke, you know, this sort of like joke car with these doors that flew up on the side.
Yes.
Like I remember that's like one instance I remember mom laughing about it. I'd be like, what's so funny? It's just like a cool looking car. It's just like, haha, it's a DeLorean. I'm like, I don't know. I don't get the reference, you know?
We'll have to do some research on the DeLorean. Like, you know, I don't know all that auto history. That is for a different member of our family.
I was going to say, like, you do know a lot about cars though.
Mm-hmm. I do from time to time. It just depends. I like to do a deep dive every once in a while. Our listeners may or may not know, we do love the Fast and Furious series on this channel. So haven't reviewed those, but maybe in the future that's a Patreon project.
Maybe so. Yeah. All I know is that the DeLorean, it was made like 2 years. It was like 81 through 83. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was very famous for having they're called gull wing doors.
Oh, yeah.
So, and like this brushed stainless steel body. So it was like it's a very cool looking car, I have to say. Marty finds out he's got this time machine. It's a DeLorean. It's powered off of plutonium, which is crazy. Yeah. So we know now Doc Brown has stolen that plutonium.
I laughed so hard because I was like, I really didn't realize that they're trying to say that he's a thief. I thought like maybe from before, not having seen this, maybe he like cooked up the plutonium in the lab or something, but no, he stole it because he was hired to create a bomb for the Libyan government. So he's really doing like world peacekeeping by like not building a bomb, which is great, and using it for his other experiments. But then out comes the terrorist, like they call them the terrorist group. They're just trying to get their stolen plutonium back, you know?
They need that. Yeah. And I was like, why? First of all, like, why wouldn't have Doc built them a bomb? Yeah, he's like, I just made him a bomb out of like pinball parts or whatever. I was like, that's not the way to deal with Libyans, sir. Like, you need to cover your tracks a little bit more.
I was going to say, if I want to continue with the Libyans, it's just funny because I feel like every movie had a moment where they had a bazooka at some point, and this movie did have one. So that's great to note. But what I wanted to say is that before they show up, Doc sent the DeLorean to go 25 years into the future.
Yes.
And I'm like, 25 years in the future from 1985 is when I graduated high school.
Whoa. Fun fact. Wait, what year is that?
2010.
Wow. So he sends Einstein to 2010?
Well, he sends Einstein like a minute into the future and then comes back.
Oh, right. Okay,
but
got it.
I think his intention was to set it. He was typing in code like, oh, if you want to go back to this time, or you want to go back to when, Christ was born, it's like December 25th, 0000, you know?
Yeah, which is so funny because I'm like, that's not Jesus's exact birthday, but whatever.
It's not. It's not whatever. But he types in November 5th, 1955. And I think what happens is like he leaves it.
Yes, he leaves it.
Yeah.
Because the Libyans come. He gets gunned down by the Libyans. He gets shot to death. And then Marty has to escape with the DeLorean that's been set to 1955, which he gets up to speed because he's being chased down.
Right.
So do you remember what mile per hour it has to get up to? 88 miles an hour. And trying to flee, he ends himself back in 1955.
Yep, he scoots on back and then he crashes into a barn because basically he's driving around the area that he lives in and it was all farmland, much like how everything else was back in the day. And so he crashes into the barn and this family comes out and they're like, oh my God, it's an alien. And of course it looks like an alien because the DeLorean looks like almost like a spaceship, you know?
It 100% does. It's so funny because they kind of hint to that earlier, like, Doc is like, I remember when this was all farmland as far as the eye can see. This old man Peabody is breeding pine trees. And it's so funny. This is one of my favorite like little details in the script. So upon fleeing the Peabody farm, after the farmer comes out with his gun, is trying to shoot this alien kid, he hits a pine tree as he's driving away. And then when we see them all later, at the very end of the movie, it's no longer the Twin Pines Mall, it's the Lone Pine Mall.
Oh, wow.
So it's like it's just like, again, like I nerd out as a writer about this. It's just like little things you would miss.
So many Easter eggs.
So many Easter eggs. Yeah. It's just really good. And it's like, now do they get into the whole like butterfly effect of everything that Marty would have changed? Cause it would have been like catastrophic.
Oh, 100%. But no, they do the important parts, like his mom lusting after him.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to that. Yeah. Marty's in 1955 and he's in Hill Valley. And like this, it's funny because in 1985, you're seeing like the fallout of Reaganomics and like the poverty, the haves and the have-nots. Again, like a very struggling working class, you know, much like we're dealing with today.
Here we are
with very, very, very similar political figures who promised greatness and abundance in our country. Anyway, but we see 1955, so we're post-war. We're baby booming, man.
Yeah.
And it's,
well, the baby boomers would have ended. This is like the next gen. This is that Gen X.
Is 1955 Gen X?
I'm sorry. No. Sorry. I'm still thinking it's 1985. We're in the past now. Okay.
We're in the past now. Yeah. We're 1955.
1955 is 100% baby boomer time.
That's what I'm saying. And I think it's funny that like, you know, when Marty eventually meets his grandparents, like they've got so many fucking kids and she's pregnant. And I was just like, they really did do that.
Yeah.
Like women had a baby like every year. Everybody's uteruses were like falling out of them.
They're working hard.
Yeah. So he doesn't meet his family quite yet. Who does he meet first in town?
Well, he goes to the soda shop and he meets the future mayor. Then he meets his dad in the soda shop.
Right. He meets his dad right off the bat, played again by Crispin Glover,
who is so hot.
Thank you for saying that. Yes. I was like,
he's so fucking hot.
He's so hot. He's crazy in real life. And I was like, I don't care. Like I was telling Ryan too, I was like, real maturity is when you grow up and you're just like, no, George McFly was hot.
He is, smoking hot compared to his kids.
Yeah. And just like, he's just got that way. He's got that like quirky guy energy about him. I'm like, he's not bad looking at all, but
no. And it's funny because I recognize him from another movie, which was the Charlie's Angels reboot in like the early 2000s.
Yes. He
plays the creepy thin man. And like, tell me why I was still attracted to him even then when he's supposed to be creepy and evil. And I'm like, wow, he can sniff my hair any day.
Yeah, Crispin Glover, his whole, I can't like sidebar too hard about him, but his career has been crazy. He is like known to be very like a very eccentric person. And there are a lot of stories about like how weird he was on set. But I was just like, I love it. And also like, I just want to say like, why did the Oscars snub him? He's really giving it all he's got in this movie. And he really like, that's the thing too about this movie, like Marty, I mean, you would think he's like the protagonist. I feel like George is, because George is the one who undergoes the greatest transformation. Marty's just kind of like facilitating everything. But
true.
But Marty doesn't really change. Like things change because he's in the past. You tell me.
He gets like, so in the beginning of, you know, flashback to 1985. So he's struggling to deal with rejection.
Yes.
And like, you know, not being good enough. And so he kind of puts thought into that while he's teaching his dad how to be more confident. And he therefore does become more confident. So they both kind of grow together. I will say George obviously has the bigger transformation.
Right.
But that's probably because like he saw an alien who woke him up in the middle of night. Darth Vader.
Yeah, that part is so funny. Yeah. So, but before we get there, I mean, like Marty meets his dad, realizes his dad not only, how do I want to say this? His dad is definitely like a nerdy kid who gets picked on a lot, much like the dad he already knows. So he hasn't changed that much. He's picked on by the local bully, Biff.
Good old Biff.
Who is, you know, still pushing his weight around town. And he follows his dad, who is, he follows his dad out of the soda shop to witness his father being a peeping Tom.
Yes. Yes. I have a note and I can't wait to say it.
His dad falls out of the tree as he's meant to get hit by the car, but Marty pushes him out of the way and takes the hit from the car. And that sound effects when his head hits the pavement always makes me cringe. I was like, it's so real. I was like, you'd be straight up concussed or dead. Like that's a tough hit to take. So anyway, Lorraine, his mom's dad, his grandpa, hits him with the car and gets, Marty gets taken back to the house instead of his pa. And this is the thing that starts the whole drama and conflama of the movie. What were you going to say?
I want to say, imagine going back to the future just to watch your dad goon in a tree.
Yeah, his dad was, George McFly was 100% gooner.
He was gooning. He was fully gooning in the tree. And that's why, I'm sure he's really happy with his life, how it turned out, because he got the girl he was admiring,
Right. But but in the past version of George, he doesn't have the confidence. He's just as you say, gooning over women. And Marty accidentally ends up taking his place.
Yep, and then is proceeded to be gooned over by his mom.
His parents are gooning left and right. Yeah, so once you realize what the whole major conflict in this movie is, the fact that his mom, who is a smoke show, is the whole major conflict is the fact that his mom now has the hots for him, her son, who she doesn't know is her son. How did you feel about that?
You know what? I'm not going to give her all the blame, because even Marty was struggling to not say that she was hot. He was like, you're, and it was like, oh boy, what is happening here? And I'm sure there are plenty of fanfics out in the world of Marty and, his mom, but
all you got to do is look on DeviantArt. That's all you have to do.
AO3.
Yo, go look at AO3, type in Marty and mom.
The teens were so horny, in the 50s, apparently, because they were just ready to lay it on thick, do all of the peeping Tom notions.
Well, it was so repressed is the thing.
Yeah.
The 50s were incredibly I love hearing, you know who John Waters is, the director, right? I love, because he grew up in the 50s and a lot of his movies are how do I want to say this? He was parodying a lot of these 1950s type movies, things like Reefer Madness and stuff like that. All these morality movies, don't do drugs, don't touch a girl and stuff like that. And he was saying that the 50s were so buttoned up. It's the transition in Mad Men, right? You have that very, very conservative time, and then it just went full blown nuts. And then by the time we get to the end of the 60s, everyone's out here finger banging each other and taking LSD. It's just that's the thing. You can't keep it buttoned up for that long.
No, you can't.
So yeah, with Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, I feel again, the studios wanted this hot teen sex romp, and they were like, okay, let's give it to you. Here's a mom who's falling in love with her son in the past. And I just want to say, for a movie that grossed almost $400 million in the box office, a budget of 19 million. I'm looking at these numbers right now, and it grossed 398.2 million. So talk about somebody got paid.
And I wonder, and this is, again, maybe too big for us, but it's with all the product placements that were in there, were they paying to be in, or was that something different? Because they had Burger King, Pepsi, Zales of all things, J.C. Penney, all of these big names in the 80s. Were they oh, you can be in our movie if you give us I don't know, 50 grand or something like that, just so we can afford to pay our actors.
Yeah, I think, the whole production of this is like so much money exchanged hands. And I just want to like go back to my original point, like of think of like how much money was invested in this movie, all of the product placement, like you said, over a film where the main plot point is incest, is straight up incest. Like that's something that like really hits as an adult. You're like, this is about incest. And it's packaged in this very like shiny, how do I want to say? It's like packaged in this very like shiny Hollywood
neat package.
Yeah. No, it's like it's so crazy. Yeah, like Leah Thompson is like, as Lorraine, is like lusting after Marty. She's looked at his underwear.
I'm like, girl, how did he get his pants off?
That's my question. So she saw his dick, is what I'm saying.
Oh, damn.
As an adult. So yeah, so that's a big problem, obviously, because now Marty realizes that his parents aren't going to get together.
Well, Doc Brown, who hasn't aged from 1955 into 1985, tells him, hey, you haven't been talking to anyone, have you? You know, and he's like, why? You know, it could have dire effects if you know, mess up, you know, the order of things and how they were and so on and so forth. So like, yeah, he has this family picture, which I'm like, that's really sweet to have like in your jacket, just like a picture of you and your siblings. Like who carries that around except for me? And I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You're like, where's our Polaroid together?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, like his brother's disappearing because, you know, his parents haven't made a connection yet. And
yeah. So he has to eventually find Doc Brown. That's after he has somewhat of a dinner with his grandparents and his mom and his aunts and uncles. You know, he meets his Uncle Joey, who is like in prison, but it's like they just leave him in the play. It's one of my favorite lines, like, better get used to these bars, kid. And it's so funny too. I just want to say before we talk about like Doc Brown, who doesn't look any different, is the fact that like Marty has no chill about like not saying like future stuff
too much. Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I've seen this in a rerun. I'm like, you would know that this is the first time this has ever been on TV, The Honeymooners or whatever.
It was Jackie Gleason.
Yeah. Well, that's the show. That's the show that he was on. It's called The Honeymooners.
I thought he had his own show.
Maybe, but the show that they're watching is.
Oh, okay.
They're just saying, like, he's saying, oh, we can watch Jackie Gleason. That's just like, it's like if the Rents were to watch like Big Bang Theory, it's like, oh, we're here to watch Sheldon or whatever.
That's a separate show, I think. Yeah, like Young Sheldon.
Shout out Young Sheldon.
I've never watched an episode of Big Bang, and I will never.
Yeah, it's not. You don't have to. There's many other things to watch. But
like,
yeah,
Back to the Future.
Like Back to the Future. Yeah. So like you said, he goes to seek out Doc Brown, who I think he is supposed to look different. I think his energy when we first meet him is supposed to be a little more mature.
Yeah, he looks a little less aged, I guess. But he still looks very much the same. He's got his white, crazy hair. You know, it's not like he has like black shoe polish hair that's brushed back or something like that, like very 50s style. He's still kind of like the mad scientist, even back then.
Yeah. And I want to say as an adult, like rewatching this for the 100th time or whatever, I was like, wow, Doc Brown really is a nice house.
Yeah.
It's like this Art Deco, Art Nouveau mansion. And I was just like, so many of these sets too. It's like they shot it at Universal, but they also like, it's all around California. Like you said, that one like Dead Mall, it's like the area around LA. And I'm just like, wow, so nice to just like these big, beautiful houses. Even the house that like George McFly lives in is this beautiful craftsman style. I'm like, let me just nerd out about this like California architecture. I love it. But yeah, Doc Brown's living in his mansion. Marty manages to convince him that he is from the future. He tells him about the flux capacitor. He's like, oh, yes, I just did invent that. So at this point, like, there's so many, like, there would be so many, what is the word I'm looking for?
Plot points.
I want to say like butterfly effect things that would have happened. It's
like connections and, you know, little nuances.
Well, just like from the moment that like Marty goes back in time and meets his parents, obviously he's affecting the future. And I feel like as soon as he meets Doc, it's like, oh, you invented this thing already. now Doc has to live his whole life knowing that he's going to meet Marty one day. It's like that would literally affect everything you did.
Right.
You know, that's like a huge, like you said, like a plot hole, I guess, is what I'm looking for. But it's not, because they're just like, okay, this is what it is. We're just going to focus on the fun stuff, and we're not really going to get into the science of it and how it would like actually ruin everything in the future. Like, can you imagine like Doc Brown like meeting Marty in 1985 or whatever, or 84, whenever he meets him? And just like, how would that change your first interaction with somebody if you have met them before, and like be cool, Doc? You know,
or is it like deja vu or something? Or like, but I kind of wonder too, like, even, and this is at the end, spoiler if anyone hasn't seen it, but when Marty's parents end up back together and they're wishing him off, like, oh, thanks for everything kind of thing. And he's like, oh yeah, like take it real easy on your kid if he burns a hole in the carpet. And like, you know, they were like, hey, bye, person who affected our relationship so greatly. You wouldn't have like a memory of that person, or like, I don't know, you know, like George hanging out with Marty, who, like, I guess his underwear did kind of cover him by giving him the name Calvin a little bit here and there. I would have just stuck with that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, I didn't really want to cover this until later, but we'll just roll with it. Is that, I was thinking, I always think about that too. It's like, okay, so Lorraine and George have met Marty. They kind of hint at like them being affected by Marty, and Lorraine's like, Marty, what a nice name, you know, like towards the end. And it's like, okay, you obviously named your kid after him, but like, how insane would it be to like have a son, name him Marty after this person that you met in the past who hung out with you for a full week, and then years later realizing that the child just grows into that person? Like, at what point do you realize, like, you see this kid's face and being like, wow, that looks really familiar? Like, you would,
that they have no photographic memory, like no, or that, but also like no photographs, period. Nor was he in the yearbook, because he just kind of had to like blend in a little bit. So they didn't have any like physical media that would have his name or like his picture,
I guess. Like, I think
even
that's
still, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I think of that a lot, about like how it's like, okay, what if you'd met somebody in the past and then you have a kid and then it becomes them? But it would be so gradual, right? Yeah, it's just insane. Like, the idea of like, how would that affect your life? And also one more thing about like affecting the future that I just have to get off my chest now, since we're talking about it.
Right.
Like if Marty ended up like affecting his parents' life in a positive way, why would they still have that shitty house at the end? Granted, it's all redone, but why would they even have that house?
They would, I would imagine they would have lived elsewhere, but
in a better neighborhood.
I guess he didn't alter the future that much, you know?
Right. This is the thing we're buying into with this movie and everything that happens in the 50s, is that like Marty affects everything just enough.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be like, you know, he comes back, it's a 2-story house or something, but he does come back and sees, you know, again at the end, he sees the new truck in there in the garage and is like, ooh, I'm gonna take my girlfriend on a date.
Yeah, I mean, we've already covered the end of the movie. We might as well just stop here.
Well, I just want to talk about a couple things that I liked, and kind of, like I said earlier, wasn't crazy about how little time, not that they didn't have a good bonding moment at the end too, where Doc finally like figures out a way to get the DeLorean to push him back into the future.
Right.
You know, by rigging the whole thing up with lightning striking that clock tower that they're trying to preserve and all of these things. I wish there was a little more Doc and Marty in there, but that's just me. I like how he's kind of reparenting his parents throughout the movie too. Like, he's like telling his mom, hey, you shouldn't smoke and you shouldn't drink, like all this stuff, you know. And she's like, well, all the teenagers drink, you know, it's just what we do. Right. It's what anyone who's an adult does. And, you know, he's just kind of like giving these nuggets of wisdom to them that really does improve their lives in the future. And I think that's like my biggest takeaway, besides the incest. He was able to improve upon his life and his family's life,
Yeah, and I think like going into that, like in terms of where we like left off narratively, is like, yeah, through all the movie, he's like you said, he's coaching his father, he's coaching George into like being more confident, going after what he wants. Like he has to sometimes do it in, I would say, manipulative ways, like pretending to be Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan. Which as a kid, that scene made me laugh so hard because also the idea that like heavy metal music or like super loud rock music was just like not a thing and it would have seemed like insane noise to them. So yeah, I loved all that. Yeah. Georgia's favorite show is science fiction theater. I was like, I love this guy. I'm going to marry him.
I will marry him. I want to marry him.
I would marry him. Yeah, no, that's like, again, it's my total, if I wasn't already married to like another hot nerd.
Oh yeah, true. Save some for the rest of us. Imagine Melanie McFly.
That's a really good name. Yeah, now I'm inspired to like go on AO3 and see if there's any specific George McFly slash fic.
Ooh, yeah.
We have to research that. But yeah, I do love this is a movie for everybody, right? Like like kids can watch it and be like, oh, now I understand that my parents were once kids. And then like parents are thinking of like, well, I should act a certain way so I don't affect my kids in a negative way. So it's like, it's a movie about family.
And generational trauma.
Yeah, kind of. And just like how, I mean, I think the really strong message is, they insert it a bunch in the movie, but the idea that like, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. Which is such a posy message.
Yeah, very, very. What's the hope core is the word of the Q1 and Q2 of 2026. Hope core.
It's hope core, yeah. And like in the 80s, there was that sort of like, there were tough times, like every decade, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they have like tough times, but also like, I want to say, since we're focusing on the 1980s this month, there was this sort of like optimism too. And I feel like it's sort of reflected in movies like this, just like, yeah, let's try it. Let's just like do whatever. There are so many moments in this movie where it's like people are rewarded for being bold. And I love that. It's very inspirational. They really dig into some dark themes. I'm really excited to show you the second one because they delve into like how things can go very bad for you as an adult or very good depending on what your outlook is.
Yeah, like I really want to just like, I'm ready to watch the second one right now because it's like, I love how the ending, like you said, this is a perfect movie. The ending sets you right up for the sequel. And I, am assuming that was their plan the whole time. Like they're like, we have 2 movies at least, we want to see what we can do with them. If that's how they were shopping it, or were they just saying it's just Back to the Future and that's it? Like it's a one-time deal. Like how was that decided upon? Because obviously it ends so perfectly by being like, hey, we need you guys to go into the future. It's not because of you, it's because of your kids. Like,
yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't know what I want to say that the wiki on this is so long and I did not read it all. Yeah, if we ever end up doing the sequels, I'll definitely get into it more. But yeah, I think we should just like pop right off and you should just turn on Back to the Future 2 and 3. And the third one is maybe one of my favorite like third sequels.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know, like listeners chime in. Which of the Back to the Futures is your favorite? The second one is crazy. There's a lot of stuff that happens, so I'm interested in hearing your feedback from that.
Please tell me they don't recast like his girlfriend / wife, things like that. Oh boy.
Well, there's a reason for that. And the reason is that the actress who plays Jennifer in the first movie, I'm going to pull up her name. This wiki is so long. I barely took any notes on this, by the way. So I'm just like,
same. It was so good. Like I can't, like, there's nothing for me to critique. we could easily talk through the entire plot.
But everyone's seen this.
Everyone's seen it. And if you haven't, you need to see it. Like, it's so good. It really feels like, in my mind, what the 80s were really like. Like, just, I don't know. The way, obviously, it was shot, the styles that everyone was wearing, obviously, peak 80s. The fact that it released in the middle of the year, in the middle of the decade, really lets you know that it's like a true, authentic 80s experience. So what a perfect movie to have for 80s month.
I felt like it was pretty perfect. Yeah, the actress Claudia Wells, she left Hollywood because I think she was taking care of her sick mother.
Oh my God.
And she just like never went back to it. So like when they did the sequels, they cast what's her face? She's in Adventures in Babysitting. What is her name? Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue plays Jennifer in the sequel. So
okay.
Anyway, yeah.
I'll accept it.
We didn't even talk about the most important part of the movie. Maybe we skipped over it on purpose, where Marty and his mom make out in the car.
Do they make out?
Yeah. Did you not see that part?
Well, like she like jumps on him, but I wasn't sure if like they were like, I didn't see like an on-screen smooch between two faces.
Well, like once, you know, after he's coached his dad about like trying to ask Lorraine out and all this stuff. And he's like, well, I got the plot. I'm going to take her out in the car. I'm going to take her in the car. I'm going to like try to sexually assault her, which is crazy.
It flips the script, you know.
Really flips the script. She goes to smooch him, but it feels weird because she is kissing her son.
She goes, it feels like I'm kissing like a family member or something like that.
She says, it feels like I'm kissing my brother. And then Biff gets in the mix. Then he legit tries to essay her.
Yes.
And then George has to step in and be a man.
Oh, yeah. And he does a great job.
He does a great job. Yeah. Like that's him at like his hottest. And then he gets to save the day. They get to dance at the dance, even though, you know, there's still an obstacle of like somebody trying to break them up. But I think it's just to like add extra tension. Like the movie does a really good job at like adding like all of this extra tension at the end. Like, you know,
how you see Marty kind of like, he's supposed to be helping the band play. And he's like losing stamina. He's starting like powering down.
Yeah, he's starting to fade from existence. And so George, just because of his own newfound gumption, pushes like the interloper away. And then they smooch. And then Marty, everything's fine, right? Everything's good and fine. Marty gets to like shred at the school dance, as was his dream in the beginning. Did you catch the little like Marty invented rock and roll reference?
Yeah, well, like, you know, the cousin of one of the people in the band is supposed to be Chuck Berry, right? So he's like,
no, hey. It's his cousin Marvin Berry.
That's what I'm saying. So like the person I'm saying like the person in the band, his cousin is Chuck Berry. He calls him on the phone. Hey, this is the sound you're looking for, right? Like, and plays it, you know?
Yeah, it's all very funny in terms of like, like Marty has essentially like he invented skateboarding.
He invented
rock and roll. Yeah, he's done all these positive things for the future. He fixed his parents' connection because instead of like his mom just falling for his dad because she felt sorry for him, he had a chance to like flex his confidence and be a real man.
Yeah.
And now she respects him. She's like legit hot for him because I think the lesson here for everyone, not just men, but everyone, is that in order to be sexy, you just need to be confident.
You
need to believe in you. Yeah. Like, cause like, I mean, again, Crispin Glover, we've established is hot. That's the biggest takeaway from this movie.
That's my biggest takeaway. Yeah. That's our number one note.
That's
fucking
what
hot.
Fucking hot. But when he like comes into his own and is just like being a defender to her and all this stuff, you're just like, oh yeah, he could do whatever he wants. Like, go for it.
It'd be kind of funny if they like had more siblings at the end, like there was like more brothers and sisters and stuff. Like,
yeah, no, when Marty gets back to the future at the end, you know, and after like a you know, we don't have to break it down beat by beat, but there's a lot of drama, him trying to get that DeLorean to work, but him and Doc Brown like work it out at the end. And there's also a little subplot about like Marty wants to tell Doc that he does get killed in the future and Doc doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, he's like, don't tell me too much about anything. Like, it's not good for you to know that. Although now you do know that you have somebody named Marty who will be appearing in your life.
Right. Yeah, it's like very picky choosy. And it's funny because in that like the end, when we finally get back to the Lone Pine Mall, we realize that like Doc has just like pieced together this letter from Marty that he had ripped up initially because he didn't want to hear it. And like the payoff for it is like, I just figured what the hell. That was it. It was very casual. Marty finally gets back to the future. And then like, yeah, how did he affect his home life with all of his actions?
I mean, everything has, despite the location and the size of the home, everything has improved. The interior is all clean. There's more of like an upper middle class vibe going on, right?
It's very bougie. I was like, if you had to show me a Google image of like what bougie 80s interior is, that's the one.
That's the one where it's like almost this sort of paper mache cement style art on the walls.
Yes.
The sconces, everything is a lot brighter too than when it was in the past.
But yeah, so the home,
everything's improved. The siblings are better standings, you know. So before, the older brother worked in fast food. Marty comes in the house, he's wearing a suit, and he goes, I always wear a suit to the office, Marty.
Yes.
You know? And then the sister, who before couldn't get a boyfriend, was talking to the older brother, and he's like, I can't keep track of all these boyfriends that you have, you know? And she's like, yeah, well, this week I'm going with Steve or whatever, just like making this up. But, you know, I'm like, go girl, you get it. And then the parents are both like in better conditions, right? They look a lot healthier and happier. They're very like smoochy smooch with each other. They're still so much in love. And Biff shows up and he's out there. He's working for Mr. McFly now. So he's out there like putting wax on the car. And Mr. McFly is like, hey, like, don't skimp out on that wax, Biff, you know, but Biff's there to like kind of, I don't know, he's like assisting the family in a way. So it's like, I don't know if he hired him to just be like a handyman.
Yeah. Again, I love, like, again, everybody in this movie is doing a great job in terms of performance. Like, everybody's really selling it. Thomas F. Wilson as Biff, like at the end, like he does, like, again, just total comedy genius, going from being like this very like overbearing bully, rapist, terrible guy, into like just like a total schlub, just being like like, oh my god, I'm so sorry,
tracksuit wearing,
just I'm so sorry, Mr. McFly. Crispin Glover, hotter than ever, and I love it that it just so happens that like he gets the copies of the first science fiction novel
that he wrote,
which is like, yeah, his life so improved. It's like, clearly he has like a better job now. He's fit. He's hot for his wife. And then
you know what I can appreciate with them being in the same house is that he's not living so far beyond his means. He's got money stacks in the bank. Okay. Now he's got free time. He's writing his novel. You know, he's going to be a published author and he's going to go travel the world with his hot wife. Yeah.
It's such a satisfying movie. And again, just like that, you know, with the family stuff at the end, just the reaffirmation of like, you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it. And I was just like, that's why I said in the beginning, this is a very creative inspiration. It's like, we all need to be more like George McFly.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And also too, like, it sets you up for the sequel. So we're watching it. Listeners, she's fired up. So yeah, what's your rating for this movie? A plus.
A plus. A plus. Well, that is a huge turn because I thought you were gonna be like, oh, it was like a C, or like I didn't get it. I didn't get that whole incest thing. I wasn't really feeling it. It's kind of weird. What's a tab? Like,
yeah, it took a minute, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that's soda. Forgot.
I don't think that they make it anymore. I think it's a defunct soda like Surge.
It is. Well, Surge came back for a little bit, and so did Fresca.
Okay.
I think you can still get Fresca right now, but like they have been like reintroducing. I think Tab had a moment and it was like instantly gone.
Got it.
People were like, we don't miss this that much.
Yeah, I think we should watch the sequel.
I'm ready. I'm ready. So ready, guys.
I'll watch it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the 80s. Again, not like we haven't done 80s movies on here before, but all these movies are going to be like quintessential.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you guys reach out, tell us, what is your favorite movie from this decade? I'd love to hear.
Ooh, yes.
Please do tell. Of course, yeah, email us, message us, tell us what you think. We got some great eps lined up for you for the rest of the month. And we'll see you next time.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of VHS Sisters.
We hope you've had a fun and cozy time.
Please consider liking, leaving a review, and following us on your podcast platform of choice.
If you'd like to chat with us, please email us at VHSsisterspodcast@gmail.com.
Love you. Bye. That's it.